You hate playing meta decks? Do you find Charizard EX to be cringe and boring? Do you want to torture your opponent and watch as the world burns? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you should probably check out a therapist, but you should also check out this brand new deck list that is terrorizing the ladder and doing pretty great at regionals too. And that's none other than Great Tusk Mill. In today's episode of Deck Cooking, we'll be breaking down what the best Pokemon chefs have been cooking up and show you how to mill your way to victory. So before we start, a quick deck profile here. This deck is loosely based off of the Orlando deck list that placed 130th last weekend. The star of the show is of course still the Dunsparce and the Dudunsparce. I do replace a 1/1 line with a Pidgeot-V and a Forward Sealstone just because I really do value the Forward Sealstone active. However, the star of the show is still going to be Great Tusk plus Dunsparce as your draw engine. I run another variant of this deck as well where I do drop the Hand Trimmer for a switching card just because sometimes, since I'm only running a 2/2 line, I do have issues with having the wrong Pokemon in the active spot if I start with the Mawile, Mimikyu, or the Greninja and I have trouble retreating because it does really get rid of the tempo. I've also flirted with running a Jet Energy as well, but in this particular variation, I don't do so. Anyways, that's enough of a deck profile. Let's go ahead and play some games in Arceus League. Hey, hold up. Hey, hold up. If you like this video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help out, and I will be picking one lucky winner every single video to win some cool Pokemon prizes. Alright, so here we have against another Arceus ranked player, 1630 points, more than me. Luckily, I can't demote Arceus, otherwise I would have done so a while ago. And just like normal Great Tusk, I really do want to go second because I love that sweet 4-card mill on turn 2. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get it. The opponent is choosing first. Sometimes I have to play this game where I want to guess what deck my opponent is running based on their peripherals, like their card sleeves and their coin. I literally have no idea, but I do think that this Rowlet is just so cute. So I'm actually going to go first, which kind of is a bummer because I'm not going to be able to set up for that mill on my first turn, but it is totally fine. I do have Dunsparce here in the active, and I kind of want to hide what I'm playing from my opponent. So I'm running against what seems to be an Ancient Box deck, and Ancient Box is of course pretty dang strong. I don't think that my Dunsparce is actually going to survive this turn with only 60 HP, so I'm going to go ahead Nest Ball for another one. Now it's a little bit risky because I don't have any Great Tusks, but I really want to hide what I'm playing from my opponent. I don't really want them to know that I'm playing a Great Tusk deck, so maybe they're going to, overplay their hand, and I am pretty much immediately punished by not drawing a Great Tusk that turn, which kind of sucks. I will have the Greninja next turn if I need to. It is what it is. We're just gonna pass our turn here. I am a little bit scared that without the Great Tusk, I might be in trouble. But either way, I can just promote the Dunsparce next turn if this one does get knocked out. With that free retreat cost, I am being chilling. Ancient Box, of course, is not the greatest matchup because the more I mill their cards, the more damage I'm actually giving the Baby Roaring Moon. Oftentimes, a great counter against things like Great Tusk is if they just don't bench more attackers than they need to. And of course, Ancient Box really only needs either a Koraidon or just 2 Baby Roaring Moons. I'm kind of in a rough spot. They do end up Explorer's Guidancing here, which is actually pretty good because this deck does aggressively deck itself out as well. So you know what? I'm gonna pretend like they're doing their job for me. They end up benching the Koraidon as well as the Roaring Moon, which is great. It allows me a chance to disrupt their hand if I need to. And because the Explorer's Guidance, they're not actually going to be able to Sada here, which means I actually survive this turn, which I am quite happy about. I am going to quickly conceal cards here first. I probably should have Pokégeared actually. And I am rewarded with that Nest Ball. I'm gonna add Great Tusk to my bench. Let's also Pokégear the Eri. I don't really need that, but it's fine. I got the Ancient Booster Capsule. I got the Double Turbo Energy. I got Sada in my hand. I'm going to bench this and use its active to draw 3. Sorry, not bench, let me put it in the active, which allows me to then add my Great Tusk on to the field and hit him with the Ancient Booster booster capsule and attack his life points directly. Just kidding, wrong game. I do get that sweet 4-card mill. They are going to not only lose both their Pokestops, their Ultra Ball, they're also going to lose Sada, which means they can't accelerate. Well, just as I say that, they get a Sada from their hand anyways. Currently, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in the discard pile, which means, oh, never mind, I take that back. Now they're going to have 7, 8 cards in the discard pile, which means this one's going to hit for 150. I can do math. Let's see, how much more can they do? Are they going to be able to ramp up for a 1-turn knockout? I certainly hope not. If they aren't able to do so, I will be in a pretty good spot. They Pokégear, I don't actually know what they're doing. Like, they're aggressively teching themselves out, which is making my life a lot easier. Whenever I play stuff like Great Tusk, I don't think about prizes anymore. I think more about the mill mapping, as I like to call it. Not prize mapping, but mill mapping. Like, how many cards away am I from a victory if I also consider they might run stuff like Super Rod and Pal Pads. Alright, so here I'm going to conceal cards again just for some more card draw, and I do end up getting another Sada. I am actually going to Sada here, but instead of attaching both energy, I'm going to leave one in the discard because I do think I'm going to need to be able to get 2 next turn. Unfortunately, I'm unable to get my other Great Tusk, otherwise I'd be setting up for a Sada next turn. So I'm just going to go ahead and Pal Pad right now and put my Sadas back into the deck. Go and swing with that Land Collapse, dropping another 4 cards from their deck, and this time I end up dropping an Earthen Vessel, which means they're not going to be doing 160 damage per attack, which is quite a bit, but thanks to the help of these ancient booster capsules, I will be okay for now. They're going to superior energy retrieval here just to get some more things in their discard, I'm assuming, and again, they're really aggressively decking themselves out right now. Are they actually going to swing this Pokestop? I would be really surprised if they're going to swing this Pokestop because they are now 5 turns from losing. Yeah, so they're not going to actually use a Pokestop. That is probably a good idea. They end up doing 180 to me, which is quite a bit. Likely next turn, my Great Tusk will be in knockout range for them, so I do have to play around that. But I do have Counter Catcher in my hand, and so I think I am likely just going to use that and disrupt them as much as I can here. Maybe bring that Koraidon up to play. I am at a bit of an impasse because I don't want to Radiant Greninja away energy that I might need. So I'm just going to go ahead and explore his guidance first here. I do get the Dunsparce. I do get the Super Rod. I don't want to give up both of them here. And wow, the Pidgeot is gone, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. I'm going to throw the Dunsparce on to its previous evolution. Pre-evolution? I don't know. And I'm just going to manually attach. The chance of me finding a DT is actually pretty high here, but you know, sometimes it's better to play the less high variance play. I think I'll be able to get it next turn anyway, so I don't have to worry too much about that. I will go ahead and Pal Pad another one of these back in to encourage the chance of me hitting a supporter next turn. Not that it matters, I do have the Sada. Just go ahead and Counter Catcher and then Land Collapse here. I almost forgot the Counter Catcher. Almost. That was a pretty fantastic mill here. Not only do I drop their Nest Ball and their Ultra Ball and their Counter Catcher, I don't actually hit any ancient cards, which means that I'm not ramping up the damage of Roaring Moon there, which is perfect. Counter Catcher not being that useful for my opponent anyways, because I'm not taking any prizes, which is another reason why Great Tusk is super good against stuff like Stellax and Control, because they can't actually disrupt me because I'm not taking any prizes. They will end up Explorer's Guidance in here, which is again perfect for me because it's essentially a 6-card mill, and they are now super thin and still really far away from winning the prize race here. Again, they play that Awakening Drum, putting them down to just 6 cards, which is just 2 away from getting knocked out. I don't know if that was actually the play here. They don't even do damage to my Great Tusk that turn, and so that is pretty rough for them. I guess I can just heavy ball here for the other Great Tusk that was in my prizes, and honestly, they are in a really tough position, so I'm just gonna go ahead and hit them with a Land Collapse. Now they're only 1 turn away from losing if they don't have a Super Rod. Actually, even if they Super Rod, I think it's doomed unless they have a Pal Pad of some sort. I think that this is in the back. Okay, they're gonna Sada here again with only a single card left in their deck. I really don't know what their plan is here, because even if they knock me out, it doesn't matter. I think think we have this game in the back. Okay, so they will Pal Pad, but it doesn't matter because I do have a Sada right here in my hand. I'm just gonna go ahead. Okay, so they will Pal Pad and Saber Rod. So they will buy themselves one more turn here, but I don't think it matters. I think it's still kind of doomed. With the Sada in my hand, I'm just gonna be able to accelerate energy, no problemo. And I'm also going to counter capture them as well and disrupt their board. Like, I think that my opponent definitely made a mistake of just putting things they didn't need on their bench. So this is just a really straightforward Sada for me here. I have one more in my hand for next turn, and I just go for the land collapse. And yeah, my opponent is in trouble. I don't remember what the last card that they put in here is. It might just be another Sada. I think it is another Sada. Even if they do it, yeah, it's a concede for them. So that is a pretty great example of how oppressive Great Tusk can get if you get off a pretty good lead. And I actually didn't even start second, just was able to set up my board really, really well. And of course, the Dunsparce offering that amazing draw power and consistency. I'm gonna head up and play another game. Hopefully we play against Charizard. I mean, I've been seeing so many of them on the ladder, and I want to show you all that it's actually a pretty dang good matchup. All right, in game number 2, we are playing against Marisa 30098170. Actually, a quick question for y'all. Do you guys read the numbers out individually, or do you like combine them? Some people will say like 398170. Is that weird, or should I be saying 30009817? I don't know. Okay, so my opponent won the coin flip, and they're actually gonna go first, which is perfect for me. I am really happy with that. I wonder what deck they're playing that makes them want to go first. Possibly Lugia, potentially? Because a lot of decks enjoy going second, especially decks that run evolution, because they can just go ahead and turn to Evo. My opponent is actually going to be playing a Champ PAL deck, I think. Yes, they will be playing a Champ PAL deck, and I actually have a lot of things in my hand here, and I'm really happy that I actually started with Dunsparce and not the Great Tusk Mill. So now my opponent is going to really aggressively play their cards here and do my job for me. Wow, the double Buddy Poffin on turn 1 is pretty crazy. I would be shaking my boots if I were not playing a Great Tusk. I'm actually really happy here because they also attached their electric energy here, lightning energy, electric energy, which means they probably won't be able to use Iron Hands this game unless they superior energy retrieval it. That is a fantastic resource burned already. Okay, so first things first, I'm just gonna Hero's Cape this, do this as well. I mean, play is really straightforward here. And now I wonder if my opponent realizes that they might have messed up putting so many cards immediately right off the rip on to their bench. They also don't have Greninja, which I am really happy for because I don't want to have to deal with a potential Greninja play knocking out my Dunsparce while it's still a wee little bug. So I'm actually not gonna bench another one just because I am really afraid of a Greninja play here, and I'm just gonna land collapse straight up. And there goes an Irida and a rare candy, so I'm really happy with that mill. Plus they also lose. Okay, so that doesn't matter. I was gonna say they also lost their Pokestop, but they end up having their rare candy in hand anyways. Wow, they actually had wow, they had a crazy amazing hand. They're probably going to go for likely the Champ PAL because I do have 240. They will knock out my Great Tusk this turn, more than likely knock out, because they do have the Barrel, and the Cypher Maniac plus Barrel combo means they're pretty much guaranteed to get that Champ PAL, assuming they Nest Ball. Yeah, so there is the Champ PAL. Wow, that's just a dream start for my opponent. Really dream start for them. They will get the energy that they need here with that Earthen Vessel, which means they have 2 in hand plus 2 more from Super Cold. Sorry, 2 more from Silvery Chill means that their Champ PAL here will be able to take the knockout on to my Great Tusk. Just needs 4 energy to do so. So hopefully I run into something like a counter catcher next turn. That would be super duper helpful. But Champ PAL also aggressively decked itself out sometimes, so perhaps I'll be in a good spot. Okay, they end up just randomly attaching there. I think maybe they're anticipating some sort of a counter catcher play, but I mean, they're going to discard this to attack, so don't really know. That's totally fine by me. I do get knocked out here, but I did see that coming, so I'm going to throw up the Great Tusk now. So now I'm not really worried about a Greninja play because obviously their bench is completely locked. I'm gonna Explorer's Guidance here, grab myself a Great Tusk, potentially. The thing is, I didn't get to check my prizes this game, so I'm a little bit scared that I don't actually have the Greninja Greninja. But you know what? YOLO, heart of the cards here. I'm just gonna pretend like I have it because why not? And I am never punished. I do end up getting the Greninja here, and I can check my prizes. I think I discarded the Forest Seal Stone, right? Oh wait, no, it's in my hand. What am I doing? Yeah, so it's in my hand. I'm going to grab, I think the Greninja is a better grab than the Pidgeot V. Actually, no. I think I'm actually going to grab the Pidgeot V this turn. And I do have the Forest Seal Stone in my hand already, and this will allow me to go ahead and actually search for a Dunsparce and get some more cards into my hand. I'm not going to use this ability just yet until after I draw. Sequencing slightly correctly here. There's the runaway draw. Unfortunately, I still don't draw any supporters, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I do get the counter character. So I'm going to Vanishing Wings so I don't, get into trouble here. And I am also going to counter catcher the Bibarel and put him in the active, make him waste some resources and hit him with the Land Collapse here again. Next turn, if I don't hit a Sada, I will be in a little bit of trouble because I wasn't able to attach energy to this turn. So next turn, it may be a problem. So they will Super Rod here, assuming for energy. Okay, no, they're actually putting the Iron Hands back into their deck, which is a little confusing to me because they don't actually have any bench space to play it. They probably got some sort of energy retrieval here. Okay, so they have double barrel. Now, I mean, like, this Champ PAL is so insanely set up that it is just crazy how much of a miracle turn they had last turn. They will end up getting the energy that they need to retreat, but it's still fine. We're at least burning some of the resources. I think they have 2 energy in hand, so the Champ PAL will most definitely knock out my Great Tusk this turn, which is unfortunate. They will also likely Shivery Chill at some point after Industrial Insiders. I personally would have gone for the Shivery Chill first, to then on my deck before the barreling, but I don't think it matters that much. Okay, so there is the Superior Energy Retrieval, which means all that energy is going straight back into their hand, so the Champ PAL can show my Great Tusk a good time, which is kind of sad, I guess. Now I'm really regretting not getting the Greninja last turn. I got the Dunsparce last turn because I figured 3 cards is better than 2. That might have been a bit of a mistake here because now Champ PAL is going to really lay the beating down on my Great Tusk, and they're a goner. I'm gonna throw up my Dunsparce in the active here, and honestly, I'm kind of in a tough spot. Let's go ahead and grab the Radiant Greninja and raid every deity out there that I do manage to luck myself into a Sada, and I unfortunately do not. I will Artazon really quickly for another Dunsparce. Honestly, I probably should have used my Super Rod first. I didn't realize how many of my Great Tusks were actually prized. So it looks like 2 of my Great Tusks are prized, which is so... Oh wait, sorry, one of them are prized. It's still so brutal to have one of them completely prized here. I don't have the ability to run Dig, so I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this energy on to my Great Tusk and hope for the very best because there's really not much I can do here. Honestly, I could have also Earthen Vessel last turn, just try and get some energy, but without even a supporter card that turn, there's not much I could do. So this is kind of the weakness of only running a 2-2 line instead of a 3-3 line of Dunsparce. You do lack a bit of that consistency, which of course we all know is super important. I feel like I made a massive mistake the turn before not going for the Greninja because that could have been an additional turn of mill that I've given up, but it's okay. I'm gonna Artazon it then on my deck again, grab another Great Tusk. I'm gonna have enough energy to attack this turn. Unfortunately, I need more than attack. I really need a supporter card of some sort here off this concealed cards. Come on, double counter catcher. I mean, like, that's pretty bad. I'll go with a Bax Caliber here, but seriously, a 1-card mill is super rough. Really rough. Honestly, I probably should have just grabbed the Bibarel, but it is what it is. I did get rid of the Irida, which is cool, but 2 turns now of a supporter drought is so rough. That means I'm really behind on the curve. Unless I get a double turbo energy and a Sada of some sort next turn, I'm going to be in threat of 2 prizes before I'm at 8 cards left to mill, which pretty much guarantees that I'm doomed. Let's just hope that that's their last superior. No, they still have 1 more superior energy retrieval. No, they have 2 more superior energy retrievals actually, and so they're gonna grab more cards again. Yeah, so this is actually a really rough turn for me. I think that I misplayed with the Dunsparce for a Steelstone, but I don't think it was necessarily egregious enough to get wrecked this hard. I just got a little bit unlucky. Plus, they had a phenomenal start with just getting everything they needed within the first 2 turns, which is really, really rough to play against. I mean, Champ PAL is impressive if it gets set up, and my opponent got Omega set up hella fast. So I'm gonna take the L here. They're gonna use 3 energy to knock me out. Probably. Yep. Say goodbye to my Great Tusk. 07 to this guy. Hopefully I will get the Sada next turn or a double turbo energy, because right now I am aching for anything playable. Maybe I should have just sacrificed my Dunsparce last turn instead of the Great Tusk for that 1 card mill. I think this is probably where I scoop. Any draw without anything at all, I am pretty much absolutely cooked. There is like so little I can do this turn. I can just maybe bring this up and hope for another disrupt, but honestly, I haven't drawn a supporter card in 3 turns now, and there's still plenty of supporters in my deck. So this is like the one issue with Great Tusk Mill is sometimes when it bricks hard. I mean, you can say that for any deck, but this feels really bad here. That's their Blast Superior Energy Retrieval, I think. Regardless, there's just nothing much I can do here without some sort of a draw engine. They're gonna prime capture my other Great Tusk. Yeah, I am probably cooked unless I do some sort of a Mawile trap next turn. That's probably my best bet. Some sort of Mawile trap, but they probably still have a switch if I'm thinking correctly here. I would have to get an energy, somehow Mawile, and also Eri them in 1 turn. I just don't think that that is realistic when I just have no card draw at all here. Best case scenario is that I get a Dudunsparce into an energy so I can go ahead and conceal cards, but I mean, that's such a long shot that I don't know if it is actually gonna happen. On my last legs here, I will go ahead and Super Rod. I think actually my Mawile might be prized. And yeah, my Mawile is prized. I mean, this is just so brutal. There is absolutely nothing I could do. For 3 turns, I didn't get a single mill down, and that is just sometimes that is just the way the cookie crumbles. Yeah, it crumbled hella bad. Not only that, I don't even have energy to attack. I think that this one is going to be a scoop on this one. I can't do anything. That was a rough game, but let's head on over to game 3. Hopefully we get a W in this one. So I'm actually going to edit the deck ahead of my next game. I'm gonna drop the Pidgeot and the Forest Seal, so I'm not using it enough, and I'm just gonna go ahead and tech in the 3 Dudunsparce. So this is very similar to the Orlando deck list. It actually might be the exact same. I don't recall. I don't know. I think they run a Devo, which I don't run. I think that I threw in I think I threw in another Ancient Booster Capsule instead of a Devo. I think my mind's a little bit foggy right now. Let's go ahead and try it this time, and hopefully it bodes a little bit better for us, because that was a pretty rough game. Okie dokie. So we're now into our 3rd and final game here against Davis Cart. Now they have some really cool deck sleeves, plus a really cool coin. So I am shaking in my boots. This is probably a player that is pretty darn good if they've got all those sweet peripherals in their collection. So my opponent is going to go ahead and choose Tails. They will end up winning the coin flip. So whether or not I go first or second is now completely out of my control. I'm hoping to go second again. Okay, perfect. I will go second again. Hopefully this game goes better than the last game, because I feel really bad about how ridiculously hard I bricked. After talking about how Dunsparce is going to be the savior of a Great Tusk, that second game was absolutely brutal. I already feel like I'm gonna get roasted in the YouTube comments for misplaying, so I do look forward to that. Man, I really love those Players Cup deck sleeves. I wish I had them. Alright, so I do have a Great Tusk in my hand. I'm going to not play it in the active and keep it hidden for now, so my opponent does not know what I'm actually playing. They end up putting a Manaphy. It could be a bunch of stuff. It could be Zard. It could be Champ PAL. They're gonna Artazon here, so my money is on probably... Okay, so it's actually a Lost Box deck, judging by that Darkness energy there. So also, my opponent's deck is absolutely blinged out. Meanwhile, I'm like way too poor to even afford holo cards, man. Reverse holos. It's brutal. And they're gonna end up lost zoning. Their Super Rod. Okay, they might regret this. They may regret that Super Rod. They only get 1 in lost zone on turn 1, which is, frankly speaking, pretty damn good. I will definitely take that. I'm gonna go ahead and grab another Dunsparce here and and throw out my Great Tusk. It would be really nice if I could get some sort of energy, and I do get that sweet double turbo on my first turn, specifically what I am looking for. I think that in this case, I will have the card draw next turn, so I'm just gonna go ahead and grab that Pokégear and hope that I will luck in to a trainer card. I do end up dropping out my Super Rod, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Sacrifices had to be made. I'm going to Pokégear here as well, and do grab that Explorer's Guidance for next turn, and just retreat with that sweet free retreat cost and a land collapse here. Now I think my opponent is pretty far away from doing a lot of damage to my Great Tusk, considering the fact that they only have a singular card in the Lost Zone. Even with a Cold Rest double Comfy, they still only have 5 in their Lost Zone. So I think my Great Tusk is totally fine from taking damage from something like a Cram. It's not gonna get knocked out this turn, so I'm pretty happy. Not only has my opponent given me plenty of time to set up, they are also milling themselves for me, which is fantastic. And I do have the Hand Trimmer. I think I'm gonna save this for a little bit later, but I know this Hand Trimmer could be really devastating if played at the right time. Okay, so my opponent does actually end up playing the Iron Bundle, so I could see some sort of Cramorant Iron Bundle play, which I am a little bit worried about, which means my poor Dunsparce is going the way of the Dodo. Hopefully that isn't what's gonna happen, but I do have a sinking suspicion that they do have Cram in their hand. Okay, so they're actually gonna Mew, and I do have to worry about some, yeah, there we go. That was my worry. There's the Cram, and my Dunsparce is gone. So when I'm playing against something like, you know, Lost Box with the Mew, you do have to worry about a play where they end up actually milling me, but they don't run an Ancient Supporter, so it should only mill 1 card. So I'm not too worried, but it is actually a possibility. I will go ahead and grab my Dudunsparce and throw that onto the bench here. And Artazon, I actually didn't check my prizes last turn, but it seems like to be one of my Dunsparces is in fact prized. I do have all my Sadas, all my Explorer's Guidances, and a good amount of my energy, so 1 DT is also prized. I'm okay with that. I think I'm gonna go ahead and grab a Great Tusk here to make sure I have a backup, and also run away draw right here. Hopefully I get something. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. I will conceal cards here and throw that out. Gives me another Dunsparce onto my bench. I do have to worry about some sort of weird Greninja play, but I think I'm okay for now, and I will just go ahead and Sada onto the benched Great Tusk for another quick draw. And what I want to do here is just disrupt them as much as I possibly can. So the Manaphy is going to come up, and I am just going to do that, and I'm going to Pal Pad as well to maximize my chances of drawing a supporter and hit him with that land collapse. And there we go, another one of their Super Rods is now gone, and I'm really happy with that. I'm still biding my time for a Hand Trimmer play. Once, I think if they have more than 10 cards in their hand, I think I'm just going to go for the Hand Trimmer here. They likely have Mirage Gate at this point, so I do have to worry about a knockout on my Great Tusk. If I remember this deck list correctly, it probably runs something like a Raikou or maybe the Roaring Moon as their primary attacker here, or it could just be so it's gonna be the Mew EX, who will have super effective against me, and so they are going to attack if they attach one more. Oh wait, no, sorry, never mind. They do have enough to attack, so I will just get Giant Tusk and knocked out here. Yep, so that is a little bit unfortunate, but their primary attacker will be Mew this game, which I think is fine for now. I am looking for some more energy cards. That would be fantastic. Let's go ahead and continue thinking on my deck here to make sure I am able to grab the cards that I actually need. There is my Great Tusk. I'm going to Nest Ball here as well for another Dunsparce. I will also countercatcher their Manaphy and I could consider a Hand Trimmer now, but I feel like their hand could get bigger. It might be a little bit greedy for me though, so I'm just gonna go ahead and run away draw here. Hopefully draw into an energy. I don't actually draw into an energy, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. I definitely don't want to be putting my Greninja up in the active spot because then that Mew is going to hit me really hard. I think I will just end up putting this. I do have the ability to retreat at any point. So I'm going to go ahead and Explorer's Guidance here and pray for another energy card. I do end up finding it at the cost of a bunch of stuff that I would rather not lose, but sometimes it is what it is. I think this is okay here. It might be prudent for me to actually grab an Earthen Vessel so I can get some stuff from my discard pile to enable me to Sada next turn. It just feels bad dropping a double turbo energy knowing that I only have 3 in the deck, but it is fine. I'll go ahead and also Nest Ball one more time for just another, you know, actually I'm gonna put up, yeah, so I'll put up the Dunsparce. I am a little bit afraid of a Gust into a Greninja play here, so we're just gonna have to pray that doesn't happen because I got nothing else. I think I do have the Super Rod. I will actually end up Super Rodding this turn, grab the Dunsparce, grab these 3 cards. A Mawile could come in handy a little bit later. I will also Earthen Vessel and drop the Sada, which ends up being kind of like bad because the whole point of this play was to like a Sada next turn, but I really want to keep the Eri in case I need it. I'm going to do this really quickly here as well. I end up running the Explorer's Guidance anyway, so it's no big deal. And I will Pal Pad and grab a Sada and another Explorer's Guidance. Manually attach this to one of my Great Tusks. I guess this one will do. Retreat, do this, hit him with another Land Collapse. You know what? I'm actually going to Hand Trimmer now because their hand is, you know, pretty big and I might as well use it in case I lose it. I do have the Eri next turn as well, which I am pretty happy about, but this will be a 4-card Hand Trimmer. Could have been better. I mean, I know that's, you know, their hand might get even larger than that, but I'm just going to use it now. Then, okay, so they actually end up dropping a bunch of energy plus a switch card, which is perfect. I'm really happy with that, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit him with the Land Collapse here. And they actually end up losing their Greninja plus a Lost Vacuum, which I'm pretty okay with. It would be really nice if I could attack some more of their Mirage Gates, but I'm going to wait for them to get some more cards in their hand and then hit him with the Eri, and hopefully that should slow them down enough. If Eri were an Ancient Supporter card, it would be so insanely strong. Okay, yeah, so there we go. There was the switch that I was afraid of. Maybe it would have been prudent for me to Eri last turn, but then I wouldn't have gotten into the 4-card mill anyways, so can't really look at things like that. Of course, this Mew is a bit of a pain in my behind, but I do have a bit of a cushion here before I'm in trouble. So I will conceal cards here. We'll go and, I mean, this doesn't really do anything for me because it just does too much damage at this point. I do think I have another Great Tusk in my deck, so I don't mind grabbing that. I will just go ahead and Explorer's Guidance here, grab this, and grab the Sada as well. I do have, of course, the Super Rod, so I don't need to worry about getting rid of those 2 Pokemon. I will the Dunsparce on to the active, attach manually, go ahead and Runaway Draw. Hopefully we find a, nope, that is not what I was looking for, but it's still totally okay. We'll do that. I was really looking for some sort of a counter catcher of some sort. That would have been really good, but we didn't find it. That's fine. I do end up getting that, and this will still help me with a 4-card mill on the Land Collapse, as well as remove the possibility of some sort of a weird Greninja play. I end up getting rid of another one of their Mirage Gates, which is pretty cool. So they only have 1 Mirage Gate left and possibly a switching card or a switch. So I am setting myself up for a potential Mawile trap at a certain point here. The only concern is that I'm running pretty thin on energy, so I am a little bit scared of running out before I can actually activate that trap card here. I do have the Dunsparce in the active, and there is my counter catcher. I am now in a bit of a tough spot. I do have no more DTEs available to me, and I also no longer have the ability to grab my Mawile because it ended up being in the discard. So I'm gonna actually end up Super Rodding here, so that actually never mind. I do have that play available to me. I think that this is likely going to be enough. I don't actually know if I even need a Mimikyu, but the Mimikyu could be another way to get around. No, I'm actually gonna do that, and hopefully this is enough for me to play some sort of an Eri trap because I'm a little bit scared I don't actually have enough energy. So I'm thinking that I don't have any more DTs left. So the only way for me to actually play this is to go with a Sada play and just pray that I'm able to actually make it work out here. So I'll put the Mawile onto my my bench and prepare for that. And we're gonna go ahead and Sada for the energy. We do end up finding the energy that I need. I will retreat here, and I think I have one more counter catcher. I think I did not take the liberty to actually check my deck, which is such a noob trap for me. I'm just gonna land collapse here, and honestly, I might have messed up if they have a boss. By putting the Mawile on my bench, I may have messed up big time, so we just have to pray that my opponent doesn't see that play, because they could Greninja me, and I will be very, very sad. So benching the Mawile last turn was actually such a misplay. They end up not seeing it, and I think I win by default here. Okay, so we're good. We end up winning. I'm like really curious to see if my opponent actually had that available to them, but you know, we're never gonna know because I'm just gonna take the W here and call it a successful heist, and my opponent does concede. That was actually pretty close. I think if my opponent had a boss's orders there, I actually lose the game, so I'm really glad that they didn't. But future ref, do not bench the Mawile if you don't need to. So there we have it, 3 quick games of Great Tusk Mill in Arceus League. Let me know what you guys thought of the gameplay in the comments below. Don't forget to roast me for all my misplays, and I will pick one lucky winner before the next video next week to receive 100 PTCGL codes. I personally think that Dunsparce makes the deck way more consistent. I'm a big fan of this draw engine. I do think that the 3-3 line is probably better than the 2-2 line that I was originally running, so I do think dropping the Pidgeot and the Forest Seal Stone is totally fine. I would like to see maybe dropping the Hand Trimmer for a Devo, and that could be really powerful against some evolution decks such as Charizard and Champal, who really rely on the evolution Pokemon to do a lot of the heavy lifting. Once they've gotten rid of all the rare candies, you can hit them with the Devo, and that's probably a pretty strong option. I also think that getting 1 or 2, either a switching card or maybe a Jet Energy in here, just so you can get rid of some Pokemon in case that you need to, like the Mawile or the Mimikyu, could be pretty good. I do think the Mawile and Mimikyu have their place in the deck, although sometimes they do feel like a dead card, but overall, I'm a pretty big fan. You guys know me, I'm addicted to Great Tusk Mill. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think, and until next time and the next episode of Deck Cooking, stay safe and good luck on the ladder. Peace!